Hello, I'm Janna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. Today, we're going to be playing with the Simon Says Stamp Ornament set and some Distress Archival and Distress inks. If you'd like to see exactly which supplies we're going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. Today, we're going to be having some fun playing with one of these Simon Says Stamp Temper sets. This one is super cool, and I thought we could have fun making a card or two with it. And of course, we're going to be featuring lots of Tim Holtz Distress products. I'm thinking we're going to be playing with some oxides and some archival inks. So let's pull out a couple of bases. I wanted to start with some Distress White Heavy Stock, and we will see what we can make. I've got a couple of ideas for this, and we're going to have to try them out. But first, let's take a closer look at the set. So in the set, we get a beautiful stamp set. We've got some different ornaments on here, and you can even add a little scene into them. Now, right away, I'm thinking this is going to be a great opportunity to use our Distress watercolor stamping technique. And to do that, I think we might need to pull in some Distress watercolor pencils. And if we take a quick look at the back, this is an example of what some of the stamped images could look like. Now, another thought I was having is that we could add some shining accents with a dash of Ranger embossing powder. And of course, I have got some of the lovely gold, and that would make a very interesting accent as well. Now, another neat thing, we can make these stamps dimensional. It comes with a coordinating die set, and that is absolutely fantastic. So we could even cut out some parts and pieces. All right, let's just jump right in and get an initial first play. And of course, I will need a stamping block or two. Let's start making. So I'm thinking for the first one, I want to do a simple card that is just going to be some layered stamping. And we're going to be doing that with the Distress Archival inks. Those will give us a good foundation to play with. And let me see what I can actually do with these. All right. Let's go ahead and grab our ink. So I'm thinking I want to do a blue and purple. There we go. Those are some good colors. I might need a gray for the ornament attacher. You know what? I'm going to pull in an oxide for that. I've got some hickory smoke. Okay, great. So I think we'll start with the largest ornament first. Just pull that off the sheet. And then we'll figure out what we'll put on the inside after. So the biggest one, I think we'll do that in Villainous Potion. We'll just give that a good layer of ink. I need to be very generous with the ink since this is the first time I'm pulling out this stamp set. And I want to make sure that we have a good bright color when we stamp. All right. Well, worst case scenario, if it doesn't stamp well on round one, I can always go back and stamp on the backside. All right. Right here should be good. Pressing that down. All right, let's see here. Oh, that did not stamp the way I wanted it to. Let's flip that right over and try again. I'm almost wondering if that ink pad is a little bit dry, but you know what? I've got re-inkers. Come to think of it, I don't know if I have re-inked the archivals recently, so that might be a good thing to do. Okay, Dusty Concord, Salvage Patina, Mermaid Lagoon, Prize Ribbon, and Villainous Potion. Well, I've got all of those in my stash, so let's grab those and see how things stamp after that. All right, 2 more inks. Villainous Potion, Dusty Mockery. Okay, got all 5. So for re-inking, the main thing is you don't need to overdo it. I just take the bottle, squeeze a bit on. That's more than enough. And a lot of people go in with a squeegee. I just honestly use the top of my ink bottle and squish that around and make sure everything goes in. And then wipe it off on a cloth. Alright, give that a moment to soak in. Let's take care of those other inks while we're here. This is a great time to re-ink stuff. If you're going to be doing a large batch of cards, it's probably a good idea to check those ink pads and see how they're doing. And if you've never re-inked them, like I totally have not done for my archivals, well, it's probably time to give those thirsty ink pads a bit of ink. Okay, good. Put the lid back. Let's go for prize ribbon next. Again, just a little bit of a squiggle on the ink pad. And then smush around to make sure it's evenly distributed. An old credit card would work really well for this too. Wipe that off. Set it aside. Moving on. Let's see here. Next I've got Salvage Patina. This one I think I've actually used quite a bit, so it's probably a really good thing I'm re-inking it. Okay. We're doing pretty good. Honestly, it doesn't take that long, and ideally let the ink pads sit 5-ish minutes before stamping with them. But if you like them really juicy, then go ahead and stamp right away. It's kind of down to preference, but if you let it sit longer, it has more time to sink into the ink pad. Otherwise, everything is just hanging out on the surface, which is also why you want to squish your ink in. Good. Alright, moving back to that first ink pad, let's try that again, and hopefully we'll get much better results. Alright, it already looks a lot juicier to me, so that is a very good sign. Okay, got that. Stick that right here. Good firm pressure. And lift. Much better. Okay, so I've got my stamp. Just going to give that a very quick wipe. There we go. And in the future, that won't be as difficult to stamp with. It's just there's something about stamping with the clear stamps for the first time that just, it's wonky. Don't know why, don't know how. I just know it doesn't always quite work the way you think it will. All right, next one. I think we'll go for a Salvage Patina. Okay, that looks pretty well inked. Take that. That can go right here. And lift. Ooh, very nice color. Okay, and well, I guess we're using that same one because there's only 2 ornament shapes, just the interiors that we can change up. All right, let's go for some prize ribbon. Okay, I've got that. And we'll stamp that down here. Good. And good firm pressure. And lift. Beautiful. Okay. So we have our main ornaments down. I think next I want to add the little hanger piece. So I'll stick that on a different stamp block, and we're going to pull in our hickory smoke. Let's take that, tap, 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 and that should be very visible. This is a oxide, and oxides are opaque. There we go. Much better. That is like super, super clean, which I love. Dye-based versus pigment-based. Okay, good. So that was that step. Now I'm going to glance at the sheet here. And I'm thinking, let's go for more of the hickory smoke. I kind of want to do this little ruffle, and then I want to do one of the starburst interiors. I'll do a scene here and then like another starburst thing over there. Okay. There's the starburst piece, and this is the ruffle. Okay. And I think I'll do the ruffle for all of these. And working in the same color makes sense. Okay, I guess that works. I'm really not sure which way this is supposed to go, but we're just going to wing it. Yeah, it looks all right. Just have to do a little bit of lining up. Okay. Yeah, I think I like that. Now for the starburst piece. I think I want to do the Villainous Potion on the bottom one. Then we could do the Salvage Patina up here and the prize ribbon there. Okay. I think I've got a plan. More ink. Tap, tap, tap. Good. We'll take this and stamp it here. Ooh, that looks really cool. I am liking this. This is definitely quite fun. All right, I think we'll do this one next for the top piece. And that one I was going to do in Salvage Patina. Good. And we can put this right here. Excellent. And now I want something there, and I did decide I wanted one of the little scenes, and I'm going to stamp that in black. I really like that little house scene. That's cute. So I've got my Distress Archival black soot. Oh, much better. That really pops. Take that and carefully stamp. Not bad. I do like how clean that card is. Not my usual style, but I do like something about it. And I really do want one more ornament up top, just because we can. And then this card is, well, I'd call it pretty much done. I'm not used to doing more simple cards like this, but what I can do is trim around the edge and go for some sparkle cardstock as a base layer. And then that'll give me a more layered feeling. Because right now it feels really plain. I mean, simple is good and plain can be beautiful, but I do have a thing about wanting cards that are multifaceted, so to say. Okay. Ooh, that's really pretty. And what will we put there? I've got another burst. This will work. And what color do I want to put there? I think I want to put some prize ribbon there. Ooh, that's very luminous. All right, let's put that down. Cool. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is trim this down just a bit. And I'll probably draw in some lines for string, but I want to do my trimming first. So about 1/4 of an inch. There. That will be very nice. Now I just want to grab that sparkling craft stock. Got it. Do a couple of quick little measurements off to the side. And be able to trim that down. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1/4. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 1/2. Okay, let's chop that and then we can layer things up. And one more chop. Great. Just move that off to the side and bring this back. Oh, I even got a blue pen that'll let me do some blue hangers. So I'm just going to use that as a straight edge. Don't need to do a whole lot, just enough to have the hangers visible. There we go. All right. Didn't need to do too much. I like that. And now I just need some ATG tape, and I will need a sentiment. And we'll be able to call this card complete. Oh, guess I'm getting ahead of myself. I was getting ready for a card base. All right, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we're going to grab this part. Okay. Good. And let's line this up. All right, that is looking very nice. And let's see, is there a sentiment on here that I want to use as well? Well, you know what? Let's go with Joyeux Noël. That makes me super happy. I love being able to use a French sentiment every now and then, especially since I'm currently living in Quebec. Very, very useful. And I think I will stamp that in black. That can go right here. All right. And there we go. That is our first card example. Now let's move on to example number 2. And this time we're going to be using some embossing powder. That's going to give the card a whole different look. And we're going to change our orientation into landscape. So this time let's go for that large ornament, but it's going to be dead center. And I think we're going to change our colors up. I want to go more classic. I want to go for some green and red. And the salvage patina. Okay. Actually, nope. The blue would look better. Okay. I think that's pretty good. So, all we need to do is stamp, dry, and then we can add our accents in. And that's going to be the really fun part this time. All right, so the center bauble, I think I want that to be red. Oh, these are really dry as well. I will be right back. I'm just going to pause for a moment and re-ink these. Let's try that again. That's all re-inked. So we should have more color this time. Ooh, something about the red, that's interesting. Feels a little bit dry to me still. I don't think it is. I know I put ink on it. All right. Let's go for it. Worst case, we have to flip this over again. So that's going to go right here. Stamp. I really hope that works, as I really just did re-ink it. Okay. It's a bit of a grungy red, but you know what? I'm okay with that. All right. Now let's go on to the rustic wilderness. Take that, put it back in the case. Good. And we'll grab this one. All right. You know, I was going to do this in oxide, but I'm really enjoying the archivals. So the oxide, I think, was just going to make a brief appearance as the piece for the hanger. That's all right. Sometimes I change my mind partway through a project. All right, these are going to overlap. That's fine. Good. And now let's go in for the blue. Let's wipe that off just a little bit. Ooh, the green is nice and juicy. I like that. And take this over here. Good. Ooh, it's really dark. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is quickly dry this off with some heat, and then I'm going to dust it very briefly with the anti-static pouch, and then we'll get into the embossing. All right, let's give this a quick dust. And now we'll want to bring in some Distress embossing ink. All right, one of these I'm going to do a center image, and the other we're going to do something colorful. Or I could invert that. I've got choices. Let's see. First, let's grab the embossing ink. I've got the dabber around here. Okay, got it. All right, let's do the center. All right, you know what? I think I'll try to get the other pieces that I'm going to emboss as well at the same time. So that would also be the little ornament hanger. Might as well. This stuff has a long open time, which is great. But I think we'll just do the hangers and that first outline, and then I'll add the embossing powder and heat emboss. Okay, good. Now I'm just going to grab my scrap paper and we'll be able to get that powder on. So just a little bit here, a little there, some over here, good, and right there. Give that a quick little tap. Very good. And we'll be back in just a second as soon as I have embossed this. Okay, the embossing is good. So the next thing I want to do is add a solid piece inside of these because I want to do a layer of embossing over the top. And you know what? Now would be another good time to bring in more of the oxides. The oxides would give me a little bit of a contrast. So why not? Okay. I think I want to do a bit of tumbled glass on the inside of this one and a bit of rustic wilderness inside of that. So I'm just going to grab the ink pad, ink this up, and carefully stamp that down. Okay, not bad. And I want to do the same on the other side, but we'll use a different color. I want to do something lighter though. Kind of thinking about it. Well, let's go with evergreen bough. That could be really pretty. So, inking up again. And carefully placing that. Good. Stamp. All right. Not bad. And again, I do want to dry this off before I add another layer of embossing. Again, I'll just quickly hit that with the anti-static pouch. Good. Now, what I want to do is put a starburst in one and a little flourishy thing in the other. All right. So we can just put this back. Good. Let's get that little starburst. I'm going to ink that up with the embossing dabber. Put this one here. That's going to be really pretty. I love the option to add in bits of metallic, and just the way the stamp set is set up, it's wonderful for stamping out layers, and that I think is super fun. Okay, and this one. Good. And for the middle, I'm actually going to stamp that in black. Let's go for, which one didn't I use yet? Yeah, let's go for this. But I think that can wait because I need to do the embossing first. All right. Very good. And the other side. All right, back in just a moment once we've had a chance to emboss that, and we'll take a look and add the last little bit to this card. Okay, I am loving that touch of embossing powder. Very fun. All right, now let's get that last piece stamped, and then we can add our sentiment and finish up the card. So I'm going to take this and carefully line that up and stamp it. Okay, I like it. So I'm just going to carefully put these back, and let's see, what sentiment do I want to finish with? Let's go with wishing you a Merry Christmas. And we'll stamp that in black. That can go right here. Wonderful. All right, and for finishing touches, I want to go around the edge with a little bit of distress paint. And for the distress paint, I'm going to be pulling in some tarnished brass. I'll just finish off the golden look on our card. So just giving that a quick shake, setting a little bit of paint off to the side. There we go. And I've got my brush. Now this part doesn't have to be neat. I'm just dabbing it on, and if it is a bit rough, even better, because I'm going for a little bit of contrasting texture. Everything else is so smooth and elegant. Let's just rough up the edge just a little bit with the paint. There we go, just roughly dabbing, not trying to be neat or fancy. Well, this was really fun. I loved having a chance to just work with stamps and ink. Not something I do very often because I'm really into the mixed media, but I really do enjoy stamping. Lots of fun and so many wonderful techniques and mediums to use. Today we got to use a combination of Distress Archival inks along with some Distress Oxide ink too. And we even got to throw in some shining embossing powder. All fun things. And to finish off this card in my hand, we're finishing that border with some distress paint. So the cool thing is all of the distress products can play very nicely in the world of card making. All right. There is that finished card. And let me pull in our other card so we can see the two things that we had a chance to make today. And here they are. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner for some stamping fun. And until next time, happy crafting!